was given first and second reading by council on January 16, 2023. Notice of this public hearing was posted at the subject properties on January 27, 2023, and posted on the city's webpage on February 2nd, 2023. Notices were also mailed and delivered to property owners and tenants near the subject properties on February 2nd. A notification of the proposed bylaws was published in the Nanaimo News Bulletin on February 8, 2023. A copy of the proposed bylaw is also available for viewing here this evening. 2 written submissions have been received with respect to this bylaw, and I am happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much. Councillor Perino?
Your Worship, it's regarding a letter that came in. Should I wait until the public hearing? It's regarding a letter that came in through our submissions. Would you prefer I wait until the public hearing is in
Yes.
motion? Oh, thank you. I'll come back.
The owner applicant is entitled to up to 10 minutes to address council if you wish to outline the proposal. I don't think the owner applicant is here tonight. Mr. Ellens, good evening.
Good evening, Your Worship. I'm just here to answer some questions or clarifications. That's it.
All right, and just for the record, it's Jerry Ellens. Thank you. Are there anyone wishing to speak to this item is now invited to call in. The number is 250-755-4455, and calls will be answered in the order that they are received. Please begin your presentation by clearly stating your first and last name for the record. No calls. We have waited a minute in the past as our system improved, all right? Is there anyone wishing to speak to this item who wishes to call in 250-755-4455? Is there anyone here present who wishes to speak to this? Please, sir, come to the podium and just introduce yourself.
David Lemire, L-E-M-I-R-E. I live on Winchester, just around the corner. So currently on this site, there are 2 small houses, and it's about 2 to 3 lots. It looks like maybe 2.5 lots. And I agree that this space is underutilized. I also agree that we need additional housing in Nanaimo, but we need housing that is affordable, based on a person's income and not driven by profit and in some instances greed. To increase the housing on this spot from 2 to potentially 4 units is excessive, in my opinion. Given that, 5th Street and the surrounding area has had some smaller development, has potential for further development, and is slated for substantial development. The intersection of 5th and Bruce is quite congested. Further development in the area would at least require the streets having turn lanes and safer pedestrian crossings at that intersection. Currently, there's only one sidewalk on 5th on one side, and only one crosswalk between Bruce and Victoria Street. There needs to be sidewalks on both sides of 5th, as well as additional lit crosswalks. When I go to the plaza, I have to decide, do I run the gamut at the corner, or do I walk down and cross illegally at Winchester? It's not a smooth functioning corner as it is right now. At the neighborhood information session that was hosted by this developer, there was a vague description of what was being planned, and it seems like that vague description continues when I read the latest document. We also learned from the developer that the city was not happy with the original proposal to build 8 units on what is now 2 units, but wanted more, and now we're at 24 units. To me, to do it 12 times what's there now seems to be excessive. The question remains about the number of proposed parking spaces. If the number of parking spaces is high, this will add to the congestion in the area and will compromise, I would think, Nanaimo's environmental goals. In conclusion, for Nanaimo to move towards being a more compassionate, inclusive city, We need to look at opportunities to provide housing where the rent is based on people's income, not driven by profit. Let's remove the fences which were put up to restrict access to small green spaces and assume a role in addressing the housing crisis we have by working with developers, other levels of government, and nonprofit organizations to create housing for all of its residents.
Thank you very much. We'll say it a second time, anyone wishing to speak to this item can now call into 250-755-4455. We have no callers. Do we have anyone present in the audience who wishes to speak to this item tonight? For a third and final time, are there any more comments or submissions on rezoning application number RA 482-488 and 492 Fifth Street? This is the final opportunity to provide council with comments prior to the potential consideration of amendment bylaw 4500.207.